Most people think eating healthy is complicated, but it's actually the simplest part of my entire routine. And I'm pretty healthy and disciplined in my health and my habits and things like that. So it hasn't always been this way. But yeah, I just today wanted to kind of go over how it can be super simple and what's worked for me, and maybe some things that could work for you, or at least get you closer to sort of a routine as far as eating and nutrition that works for you. So if you've been keeping up, we've been talking about the 4 M's, and it's mindset, meals, movement, and meaning. And last week we went over mindset, and this episode will be kind of diving into the meals part of it, which is probably what I'm most passionate about, is kind of nutrition and eating right, and avoiding all the toxic ingredients and the addictive chemicals and processed artificial crap that they put in food. Yeah, so last video was on mindset and kind of internal control, and just being more aware and taking accountability of your thoughts, and just taking time sometimes to just get better about getting out of those autopilot things, and it ties to your meals as well. And um, that's kind of what we're going to talk about. Yeah, mindset, sort of the internal control. This video on meals is kind of the physical foundation, and kind of the fuel. How what you eat affects energy, clarity, and how you think. Like it all ties super close together, and it's all relevant to your overall health and mental health and physical well-being, everything. So to backtrack, before it all changed for me, I've always played all sports and been pretty decent athlete my whole life, as far as, like, I mean, everything really. I played baseball, soccer, basketball, football, pole vaulting, triple jump. I did all the track. I did the open 200. I was decent at everything, and I stuck with soccer and played college soccer for one semester before I decided I wanted to become a rock star. Even I say all that to say, like, even back when I was playing sports and stuff, it was constant, like, going from playing all those sports, going here to there, and having a soccer tournament and then a baseball tournament, the same day, and a lot of fast food, and back then, like, people weren't really thinking about it not being real food. Like, you go get a Jack in the Box cheeseburger and you think it's a real cheeseburger, and you don't know how they're cooking it and all the crap they're putting in the meat and the bread and everything, the sauces. Yeah, I mean, all the way from my childhood, just did a lot of, I mean, my parents cooked dinner a lot growing up, but we were on the go so much. There's also a lot of fast food, and I know a lot of people still deal with that, and it's kind of just a part of it. And some people don't really, just they don't even think about it. And now it seems a lot of people are kind of catching on to it. But and then once I kind of quit sports and started playing music, it was a lot of a lot more fast food and late nights and drinking a lot, and leaving gigs at 2 in the morning and going to Jack in the Box or Whataburger and eating fast food and going home and going right to sleep, full of alcohol and slow metabolism, and eating empty calories, and then you stack on terrible processed fast food cooked in a bunch of seed oils, and you get pretty off track pretty quick. So I did that for years, man. And even after I quit, like, playing music for a living, I still played gigs here and there, but still just, working a regular job and still eating fast food, sometimes twice a day, like lunch and dinner, donut shop in the morning, getting pure sugar and, bleached or enriched flour. A lot of ice cream and candy and sweets and sodas, and didn't think much about nutrition or the long-term impact, because everyone does it. Everyone's eating fast food, and everyone loves Taco Bell and all that stuff. So for me, I probably would be super unhealthy and still, super out of shape and not care about any of this, had I not been diagnosed with celiac disease, which is basically you can't have gluten or it destroys your small intestine, like the lining of your small intestine, which is where basically all of your nutrients get absorbed into your small intestine. Um, there's little, they call it villi or villi. I don't know how you say it, but it's basically like tiny little fingers that line your small intestine. That's what absorbs the, nutrients. But when you have celiac disease, if you're getting gluten in your system, it causes your immune system to attack itself, and it basically destroys those little fingers, and then you're not absorbing your nutrients really. And people will be throwing up, from eating gluten, or just all kinds of digestive problems. I mean, diarrhea, fatigue, all kinds of stuff, man. And even like one of the big symptoms I had was itching, which is crazy. Like after I would eat something, like after my lunch break, and then it's like my shins or the back of my head would itch, like, no, no rash or nothing. I mean, unless I sat and kept scratching, then it'd get red and stuff. But yeah, and all that went away when I got diagnosed with celiac. They told me it was a genetic, uh, like a autoimmune disease, a genetic condition triggered by gluten. And, at first it was dead. Like it was just, I was so bummed, like, man, cause I'm eating Waffle House and Whataburger every night. I'm eating something, at least once a day, eating that kind of crap. And I'm like, what am I going to do now? Like, I thought and it definitely made my life more restrictive. Back then, all I was focused on was, okay, now I got to cut out gluten. So, and nowadays they make so much gluten free everything, like all kinds of gluten free frozen meals and gluten free baked goods and desserts and candy. And I mean, even like Butterfinger and Almond Joy and, things like that are gluten free. Some candies, like name candies, are just naturally gluten free. But I wasn't thinking about all the other bull crap that goes in stuff. Like I was just avoiding gluten. But it was a good start to kind of clean up. I started feeling way better. Like I wasn't, feeling fatigued and fog headed, and itching went away, and just smoothed out my digestion, and, forced a major change in my diet and my awareness around food. Somewhere along the way, I mean, not to get, I talk about all this a lot, but, I was in a relationship and it kind of went south. And then, I started drinking even heavier, which beer is gluten. Like, I mean, there's a couple of gluten free beers, but, I was drinking all kinds of like vodka and seltzers, high noons and stuff, like 3 4 nights a week, like going out and drinking. And I was cooking a lot more, like for myself, because it's easy because I live by myself most of the time. Like other than the weekends, I have my daughter, but um, I'm pretty much always cooking for myself. So for me, it's really easy. I've got a pretty good routine down, and a big part of it is eating the same thing a lot, um, which I'm fine with. I look forward to everything that I eat every day, every piece of my whole day, my whole day's meal plan. I look forward to every part of it. Like right now, I'm having, some days I'll do a second cup of coffee, and what better time to have coffee than when you're doing a little YouTube video. Yeah, cheers, and happy Mother's Day. I hope everyone had a happy Mother's Day with your family and everything. And um, yeah, it was good. I went to my older brothers, and he and his wife and their whole family are pretty like health conscious around food, because his wife has, some dietary restrictions. So I know I can go over there and eat, and they'll have all the goodies that are gluten free. And um, they're big on all that stuff too, and the grass fed burgers and all that stuff. It was great. But I was drinking a lot, and I'd been kind of cooking better for myself, but it was just like just eating gluten free. Like I'd buy frozen dino nuggets that were gluten free and eat those, 4 days a week for lunch. Like, and there's other stuff in those things that are not the best. But yeah, I kind of was doing better, and then I started getting my mindset right. Which, if you watch the last video, I kind of went through how that all transitioned, and I quit drinking and everything. And slowly these things started compounding, and I started paying attention to, processed foods and digestion, and watching, researching, watching videos about all these things, and realize how much, just cutting out the gluten, I realized how much food impacts overall health and energy. And now I'm grateful for, being diagnosed with that, because it pushed the change that ultimately got me to where I'm at now. And I'm so health conscious about everything. Like I said, cleaning products and body soaps and candles and like everything, even clothing. Like, try not to wear a bunch of polyester and artificial, dyes and fabrics and things like that, like cotton sheets and or linen and all that. So I feel better than ever and more energized than ever. But basically, what it slowly, like, I realized, like, oh, I just need to eat real food, like single ingredient foods, and I'll be fine. Like, that's the healthiest you can eat. I started viewing food as fuel instead of like pleasure, which now, like, the way I eat, yeah, it's the most fueling, nutritious foods I can eat, but it's also pleasure. Like, I love every bit of, like I said, my whole routine as far as meals that I've got dialed in here. Single ingredient whole foods, your meat, a lot of eggs, fruits, vegetables. I don't really do a lot of rice. I do potatoes basically every night for dinner, like sweet potatoes mainly. Sometimes like baby reds or baby yellow potatoes, but um, and if you do buy stuff that's kind of, somewhat processed, or it comes in a package, like, read the label. I got real good at reading labels when I got diagnosed with celiac, just to see if it said gluten free, or if it didn't say it, like what all was in it, to see if it might be okay. And um, but if the label's long and you don't know what something is in it, you should probably avoid it. Like, if you care about yourself and you're trying to take better care of yourself, um, yeah, you should probably avoid it. Keep food as natural and simple as possible. And like I said, it's the simplest part of my life now. It really is nutrition, because I'm like, I'm the kind of person, like, if I have too many options for things, too many options, I can't decide on what I want to do, or like, and that's a big struggle with, like, creating music, being a musician and stuff, like trying to write my own songs and make my own songs. I get overwhelmed because it's like there's unlimited possibilities sometimes, and sometimes I just got to be like, all right, I want to make this type of song, and I kind of got to, like, give myself restrictions sometimes, just to be able to take steps forward. But I avoid, like, anything processed. I avoid, artificial ingredients, refined sugars, added sugars, the bleached, enriched flour products. Obviously, that's gluten, anyways. But yeah, and gluten, dyes, preservatives, and luckily, like, the whole Maha movement thing has cracked down on a lot of the dyes and stuff like that. So that's pretty cool. A lot of, there's some small improvements throughout things like chips and stuff, but I don't eat chips either, because they're pretty much all cooked in seed oils. Um, and like, tortilla chips are gluten free. So back, like, I was eating about two full bags of, like, big tortilla chips every week, because on lunch I was eating, like, tortilla chips and guacamole. Now I've replaced the tortilla chips with carrots or celery, and guacamole. I still get the holy guacamole cups, which are delicious. And I'll run through later, and I'll probably even, like, either attach a link or put a still shot of my, like, diet, my kind of my daily meal plan, on this video, so you'll be able to kind of see what I do, and you can probably find things that you sub in if you don't like something on there, or if you even want to try it, but maybe you can take some pointers away from it. But yeah, just eat real food. I've said that, I think, in every video I've made, but this is the meals video, so I got to say it again. And I will say too, like, there's a lot of people that want to, like, lose weight, is like, even if it's like 5-10 pounds, some people want to lose a lot of weight. And they, you get in these little routines, like, oh, I need to start working out, or I need to start running or walking or whatever. Yeah, that's very important. You should do those things. But a lot of times you get overwhelmed with that, and you don't think so much. And you can look, there's a lot of research on this, but your meals and the way you fuel your body is, I don't know the percentage, but I'm going to say, for me, it seems like in my life and the way it's impacted my health and losing weight and staying, like, at a consistent weight, like, your diet and what you eat, and by diet I mean like how you eat forever. Like it's not like, oh, I'm on a diet, like a temporary thing. No, your diet is how you eat forever. Dial it in, something that you can tolerate, and find things that fit, that you get comfortable with, and that's healthy for you and that fuels your body. And don't cheat. I mean, maybe occasionally, like yesterday, my grandma made a gluten-free strawberry turnover or some big like cobbler type thing, and I'm sure it was loaded with sugar, but it was gluten-free, and she made it gluten-free like for the people in my family that have to eat gluten free. And sometimes I'll eat it, just like I said, it had probably a lot of sugar. It was very sweet, but it was delicious. And once I had a bite, I'm like, oh my god, because I never eat sweet, like added sugar stuff like that. So man, I sat and ate, probably like I could have filled this cup full of it, is how much I ate. um and this morning I was like, my muscles were sore, and I was like slow, like didn't want to get out of bed. But I can tell, like, and even last night, shortly after I ate it, you get that sugar, and then you kind of crash and you feel tired. And man, I just crashed out when I got home. But very rarely do I do that. But no one, I don't think anyone knew that she had made that because it was kind of tucked in the back. But um, yeah, it was delicious. And so every, few times a year, I'll do something like that. And in the moment, it's great, but it was delicious. Yeah. Anyways, exercise is very important, especially for your strength and your mood, and your mental health, and obviously your physical health, but your mental health too. Like exercise and like sunlight and those things are like stronger than any antidepressant medication. Like look this up. I'm not lying about this. Like look into that. Like if you are battling depression and anxiety and all these things, and you're on medication and you think you got to take medicine for the rest of your life, that's treating the symptom. That's not treating the root problem. The root problem is probably your lack of exercise and movement, or your lack of sunlight, um, or you're just not eating right. Like all those things, you got to start doing better. If you really care about yourself and you want to live a long, healthy life, and you want to not be battling yourself down the road as you get older, start now. Now's the time. Um, I'm 34 years old, and I am like mind blown that it took me until just a couple years ago to start caring about this stuff. Like I just never even thought about it. Um, so yeah, exercise is very important, but nutrition is the main driver of weight loss and health. Like start eating right, cut out sodas, cut out, like I said, all those added things and artificial things. And people think exercise can offset bad eating. I was guilty of that as well. Like, oh, I'm gonna go work out and then eat some white rice and chicken and whatever, some zucchini or something, and then but every other meal I'm gonna eat kolaches for breakfast and Whataburger, and I'll just eat one healthy meal a day. It doesn't work like that. And now meals are the foundation that everything else builds on for me. Like I got to eat right, or I'm like, why work out if I'm not eating right? I'm just kind of canceling that out. But anyways, yeah. And another big thing to me that you probably have heard me say this word a billion times is organic. And people might disagree. There's conflicting information out there on it, but I would rather buy organic produce and organic, eggs and chicken and grass fed beef and those things, as opposed to not, because there are regulations and it's got to be somewhat healthier. Like I still wash it and everything real good, but yeah, organic produce is very important to me, just from what I've researched. And dairy, organic dairy. Like I get organic string mozzarella, string cheese, organic grass milk from grass fed cows, organic pasture raised eggs. And I try to get stuff at the farmer's market when I go. I just got some eggs at the farm, and it's cheaper at the farmer's market. It's like a couple dollars cheaper for those kind of eggs, and they're probably even better than the store organic pasture raised eggs. But for me, it's just kind of a personal choice for cleaner, simpler food. It's not about perfection. It's about, reducing unnecessary exposure if and where you can. Like I said, I'm very strict about it, and try to really take care of myself. Yeah, just something that's important to me. And makes it simpler for me to just, oh, this is it. This is the organic. Got it. I don't got to sit and look for, the right brand or whatever, whatever it is. But um, and to kind of touch on the simplicity aspect of it, I eat mostly the same meals every day. Like I'll swap. I have a couple of options that I alternate, but it's the overall like foundation of my meal plan is the same every day. Um, I rotate my dinner proteins, like the meat that I eat with my dinner, but and the vegetables that I eat, I'll kind of alternate. But it's basically meat, potatoes, or usually meat and sweet potatoes, and then either like half a squash or half a zucchini or some asparagus or broccoli or bell peppers, something like that. And I cook everything that I eat, and I don't even have, first of all, I don't have a dishwasher, so I'm I'm hand washing everything. I also don't have an oven. I have pretty limited counter space, and I don't have like a skill. Like I can't use a. I mean, I use a skillet, but I don't have like a stovetop. So I have to get out. I have to get out my electric, little stove top thing. It's got two burners on it, and I really only use that if I'm like for some reason scrambling or frying eggs or cooking ground meat like ground beef or ground turkey sausage. Other than that, I use my air fryer like every day. I use my air fryer for most everything that I cook. So that makes it easy. Honestly, it sounds crazy difficult, but for me, I've got it down. Like it's pretty quick and easy. Like to have everything going and prepped and cooking in the air fryer, it takes me about maybe 15 minutes and everything's going. Like it's, and then it's maybe like 15 to 20 minutes before everything's done cooking. So it's like 45 minutes max that I spend cooking until from start until everything is ready. And then, devour it. It's delicious. Removes the stress, eating, pretty consistently the same thing. It removes the stress of deciding what to eat. Um, Once again, I'm by myself, so I'm not like, oh, what do you want to eat? I don't know. What do you want to eat? Like, I used to deal with that, and it's like, oh my gosh, I wish you would pick. And they're like, oh, I wish you would pick. And now I'm like, I'm going to eat what I want, and I'm fine with eating basically the same thing every day. Sometimes I just throw it all in a bowl, and sometimes just mix it up with throw some, organic cheddar cheese on there or some cottage cheese and mix it all up and eat a little, healthy bowl, meat and potatoes and veggies. And there's no constant recipe searching. I don't ever look up recipes, so I'm never overthinking. I cook by, feel, baby. I cook by from the heart. Um, and even my seasonings are all like organic. I use Celtic salt, black pepper. I do use like iodized table salt just to get iodines because there's a brief period where my blood work showed that I was like, some of my thyroid hormones were a little wonky. And after what I researched, I eat so many like cruciferous vegetables, like spinach, kale, like every day a salad. And for dinner, a lot of times like broccoli or asparagus, I think is cruciferous. Cauliflower, I do cauliflower rice sometimes, like as my vegetable. Just the correlation with iodine and cruciferous vegetables, like if you're shorting yourself on, because Celtic salt is not iodized, so I was basically not eating iodized salt. I was just basically, I guess the only iodine I would be getting is from like fish. um, but now I get these little roasted seaweed snacks that I eat every day. That's a good iodine supplement. But um, yeah, so it's made it a lot simpler. And like I said, I'll dive more into my whole recipe or my whole daily thing, not recipe, but my whole daily meal plan here before we wrap up. But and another big thing that I've been doing, for a while, I was documenting a lot of like videos and stuff of my plants that I was growing. Started pretty small, like one of my homies' gardens, and he'll hook me up with some produce when I see him. But I started trying to grow my own stuff, and now I've got all kinds of stuff growing. The only thing I've really harvested that I've grown was last summer. I grew my first watermelon. Turned out delicious. It was small, but it was amazing. Right now, I've got a jalapeno plant. Is what's about to. It's got about 20 jalapenos on it that are about to be ready to harvest, probably within a week. I've got a squash and a zucchini plant that both have fruit on them that I don't know how quick they grow. It seems like they're growing pretty quick. So probably, you know, maybe less than a month, I'll have some squash and zucchini. But I try to grow my own stuff. I've got apple trees, two big apple trees that, are a year old that I just got from a buddy because he knew I like growing my own food and stuff or trying to. That's a huge like goal of mine is to be as self-sufficient as far as like produce and stuff as possible. And then one day maybe expand to getting chickens so I can have eggs um, and eventually I want to do bees for my own honey and stuff. But yeah, start growing my own fruits and vegetables. I've got two mango trees, a little avocado tree growing, and it's just like when you think about it, like, man, if I had full mango tree with mangoes on it, like full apple tree with apples on it, like I love those things. Like I would eat the mango and apple. I do eat an apple every day, but avocado tree producing avocados, like oh my gosh, that's a dream come true. So I'm trying to get there. Got some potatoes growing that are almost ready. It's kind of not the right time, but I started them a few months ago. So um, right now is a great time to grow sweet potatoes. That's a big thing because I eat so many sweet potatoes. I'm trying to grow some slips right now so I can plant some slips to grow sweet potatoes. But yeah, just taking small steps toward more control over the source of my food. Like if I'm the source, that's great. So I know it's not being sprayed with stuff and that it's cared for and just I've started collecting rainwater in a bunch of tubs and buckets out in the yard. Like I'll get a better system for that one day, but eventually as self-sufficient as possible. But yeah, just the awareness and improvement over time with that stuff. But I'm very passionate about food and nutrition and organic produce and using food as fuel instead of like pleasure and stuff. But and even like my coffee, I order on Amazon. It's organic ground coffee with mushrooms in it, like the lion's mane and chaga, and then I got another same brand, but it's the brand is Four Sigmatic, but it's organic because they say coffee is pretty heavily sprayed crop. So, but yeah, then there's another one with like ashwagandha and eleuthero adaptogen or something like that. But delicious. I mean, it tastes like coffee. So, and I just drink it black. I don't put nothing in it. Sometimes cinnamon and honey, but not usually. Um, so yeah, main takeaways. Meals are about simplicity, awareness, and consistency. Like your diet is how you eat permanently. Dial it in. What things that you like. If you've got to write it down, write it down. Like make a routine and get comfortable eating the same thing every day. Like food is fuel. Like back in the day, hunter gatherers and things, they weren't eating every day. They didn't have food just sitting here ready. Like, and that's another reason I practice fasting every now and then. And um, your body needs a break from digesting food constantly. Like that's when it can focus energy on healing things and recovering your damaged digestive system from the crap you've been eating. So, um, yeah, and what you're eating either supports your body or it works against it. It's either fuel or poison. Like you pick. Um, and small daily choices compound over time, like with everything. It all goes back to your mindset. At the end of the day, I've started viewing food less as something for pleasure and more as fuel. And once you do that, eating healthy actually becomes one of the simplest parts of life and not the hardest, most overwhelming thing. Like, you don't need complicated diets like fads. You need better inputs. You need to eat real food, whole food, single ingredients, natural produce. And if it's not organic, it's still better. Wash it. It's still better than, you know, processed, frozen, or whatever, artificial crap like fast food, seed oils. Like, look into these things. If you want to do better, you stop using seed oils, stop eating things cooked in seed oils, start cooking more. It can be so simple. And if you've got anything from this, like I always say, not to be that guy, but this is my dream, is to share this kind of info to help people, hopefully. And if it helps one person, great. If it helps 1,000 people, great. But what helps me, if you support what I'm doing here, is if you if you like the video, or subscribe to the channel if you haven't. Share it, or comment on here and let me know if you got any questions, like whatever. Like I said, I'll I don't know if I can post a link or something on here to look at that. Actually, you know what? I'll put it right here. I will put a screenshot, should be showing right now, of my whole meal plan. And yeah, just screenshot it if you're watching on your phone or whatever. Screenshot this and look at it. And if you got any questions or anything, just um, let me know. And yeah, once again, thanks for watching. And um, remember, you don't change overnight, you change daily. God bless you guys, man. Take care.